Hello, boys, girls, ladies, men, penguins, kitchen cupboards and kettles alike all around internet land. Welcome back to the Brotherhood for part 2 of Fight or Flight Anxiety. With me, Graham, and my very good friend
Steve.
So we're going to kind of, I think the point of this show, mate, is, well, firstly, how's your week been? What have you been up to? Tell us what you've been doing.
Well, I'm retired, not a lot. I said it before. You
Fuck all.
The dog takes most of my time. But my wife decided to leave me again for Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. So that answers your question, really, did it?
Oh, okay. What, leave as in...
No. She's sunned herself over... Sunned herself... Say that with your teeth. Sunned herself over Spain.
Yeah.
No, that's it. So, no, it's just a normal great week, you know?
The sun's shining.
Yeah. I've had no anxiety attacks. You can't call them attacks now. I've had no twinges, so you start worrying, you know.
Okay, all right. So you've had a pretty smooth week then.
Oh, cool, absolutely.
Obviously you've got the waiting staff and everything back in today, which is good.
We're getting to it. So where have you been this last week?
I've got to think again.
Oh.
So where have I been? So, no. Let me tell you where I've been. Now, there's a little story to this. So, I had a 2-night Los Angeles trip.
Hard work.
Okay. No, I'm telling you, it's hard work. It's hard work.
Sweat on the brow.
Doing this, right?
I bet you somebody's got to do it.
So, at a 2-night LA, and I thought, right, okay, what can I do in LA? Because LA is massive. Have you been there?
No.
Hey, probably never will be. So LA is...
Don't rub it in.
LA is an enormous place.
I betcha.
An enormous place. And it's a bit edgy. Do you know what I mean? Really? It's like, it's a bit edgy. You have to know where you're going and what you're doing and this and that. Anyway. And I thought, right, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to Big... So Big Bear is basically up in the mountains.
Yeah, I've heard.
And
you've got quite intellectual, really. You know
Big Bear... I would never have guessed that. Big Bear Lake. And obviously in the winter months, people go up there skiing. Now, I've never been skiing. I mean, you must have been skiing.
Of course.
Right, of course you have. I've never been skiing.
France Clamor.
That's do you get cream for that?
You used to
do you get an ointment? So I thought, right, I'm gonna and I got a discount on a rental car. So I thought, I'm gonna get the biggest fucking car that I can find. So I got this thing. It was like 9 seats.
That's a penis thing, you know.
Oh man, it was enormous. It was enormous. I felt like a small child.
I've heard that many a time.
Honestly, it was good, but it was cheap. So I thought, right, a car, and I just thought, nice couple of days, peace and quiet.
Lovely.
And it sits on a lake. It overlooks, this cabin was dirt cheap, overlooks the mountains, and I thought, that's a drop for me. Yeah. Just get out there, I can clear my head, and this, that and the other. Anyway, we land, go through security took forever, and eventually have to then get on a shuttle bus to go to the car rental place. And like, you know, when you go to Spain or whatever else, everyone runs off the bus, you know, throwing women and children behind them to get to the front of the queue. Anyway, no dramas, get the thing. Guy says, take the note out. Anyway, I get the car. This car, my God, it was like an articulated lorry. So I got in the car, you know, it was just like, right, I can't take me work jacket off, blah, blah, blah. And when I looked originally, it was like an hour and a half to get to this cabin, this Big Bear place. And because it had taken me so long to get through security, the flight was a little bit delayed, etc. It was like 3.5 hours on the sat nav, and I just thought, I've just done an 11-hour flight. So I thought, no, we'll soldier on. So gets in the car anyway. Couple of hours, it's then dark, it's then pitch black. And I get to a point in the road where the sat nav's saying you need to go straight over, and to get straight over, the road's blocked. This is at the bottom of the mountain range, right? And it's blocked, and I'm 15 minutes away from this cabin, and I'm, I just want to get out of my uniform, just want to chill, this, that, and the other. And and then do you remember, was it a couple of years back that the government tested that emergency thing where they texted everyone?
Yeah, of course. I think we all did.
Fucking phone started going, like, buzzing off, like absolutely mental. Bum, 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 bum. And I thought, what? Emergency. Anyway, after contacting the hosts, whose names I won't mention because I've left them a 1-star review and slagged them off royally, they were of no help, about as much use as a chocolate teapot. I then had to contact the San Bernardino Fire Department, and they were very helpful. They said basically everything and anything up on the hillside is burnt to a cinder. So I said, okay, well, how do I get to the cabin? And he said, you can't. You can't. So anyway, long to the point of the story was that I spent 11 hours on the plane. I then spent a further eight hours driving and trying to navigate. I mean, I tried to get up another road on the bottom of this hillside, and I took a right. And
you started hearing banjos playing.
I'm telling you, there was a whole host. It was like zombie apocalypse. There was a whole host of them shooting up. So I'll give it the old chink on the door, and out I got. So yeah, so that was my kind of. It wasn't completely ruined. I ended up going to Muscle Beach, Venice Beach, and
you'd suit that, yeah.
Santa Monica Pier, and no, it was good. It just. It is what you make it.
Yes,
you can't stress
so that wasn't just LA though that week, was it? You must have had somewhere else.
No. It was just LA.
Oh, just the one.
Yeah, it's quite stressy, but just you got to do what you do. The big thing about it is the killer is the time difference.
Oh, it'd kill me, I think.
It's honestly, it's such a killer. But
I do like me kit. That's a good thing with anxiety, mate. If you can't go sleep, it goes.
That's it, yeah. Wise words, mate. Yeah. So that's pretty much been my week, and then I'm back there again next week. So I might hire a big car and not go up to Big Bear, because that was a waste of my fucking time, really.
And money.
Yes, yeah.
Cost you a little bit, didn't it?
Yeah, I'm not as minted as you, but I've got a couple of bits tucked away in my little jar.
Well, listen, we're gonna go through some points that Peter was saying. We can't sort of analyse. There's some of it I don't think any of us could even imagine how you'd feel. But we're just going to go through a few. We've had quite a few emails about what Peter said. I think Coles has got a few he can read out. Quick ones. Yeah.
I'm going to read them out now. Sorry, mate.
Yeah,
nice cue. Yeah. Okay. So, we had messages from Kevin from Oxford says, Pete's bravery for coming on the show is truly admirable and should be applauded in inspiring all of us men and boys in speaking out. Yeah, well said, Kevin.
Well said,
and very well said, Pete. Gavin from Portsmouth says, Pete's story is very similar to mine. My dad left when I was 11 and I didn't know why, but years later I found out that he'd been in a relationship with another man for some time. As a young man, this put my emotions into turmoil. I can imagine it would.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
it would.
Especially someone of my age, in sort of 50, 60 years ago, there wasn't no such thing. It would have been outrageously, hello.
Hello,
we've got our mascot.
Did you want to come onto the settee, darling? Yeah, is it my aftershave? Thank you. Yeah, no, I can't. I can't imagine for 1 minute. I mean, just listening to everything that Pete was talking about, and everything that he's gone through. I think it's that old adage that if ever you think your life's going shit, there's always someone out there
suffering
even more, someone that's had it a lot harder or whatever that may be. And that's the whole thing, guys, This is why we're Steve and I are doing this podcast, is because we want you out there talking. We want you out there speaking. We want you out. We've all got voices. We've all got voices.
Yeah,
we've all got.
Well, yeah, as Pete said, didn't he? Pete said that he had to hide his emotions because he thought he was gay, and he had to put a brave face on and this and that. Well, that's basically what we're all about.
Yeah.
They've been hiding that for 6. Well, he may have had 9, 10 years, something like that, and we're just coming out of it and saying, "Well, I'm not gay." You know, we can't, can we?
But I think, but I think with that, I think it was more the case that I seem to remember him saying he was conscious of himself as a person, and was he gonna? I think what he was trying to say was, am I reflecting my dad's image? Do you know what I mean? In the way that he was standing, and then he sort of adjusted the way he was standing, and then he's basically separated from that whole group of friends. And as a young man, I mean, just being young, people go, "I wish I was 16 again." Oh, screw that!
Oh no, I could do that for
you?
Yeah.
Have to go back a long way.
Oh yes, I know that.
Black and white films.
No, we all went through the. No, you're laughing. It was
Charlie Chaplin.
It was black and white. I'm telling you. Honestly, we had my first television, or my dad's first television, couldn't have been no bigger than 12-inch by 12-inch.
Steam powered, was it?
Probably a little gas light at the back. But honestly, my granddad bought me dad a Christmas present, a big magnifying glass that listen, it gets worse. A big magnifying glass that you put over it, and it was blue at the top, green in the middle, and black at the bottom.
So it was colour.
It was colour.
Oh man!
And you had to sit in front of the telly and do your eyes like that to see it. So you wasn't, even though you was being facetious when you said it. Yes, it was.
We had. Do you remember radio rentals? Because radio rentals become the phrase for back in the day when it was all inappropriate for someone who was mental. It's radio rental.
Yeah,
for radio rentals, we had a coin operated telly. Yeah, you wouldn't dream of it now, would you?
No, my old man, when I turned 16, I went around that age, because wonderful times. We could do a whole programme of me growing up from 16 onwards, you know what I mean? But I was...
We're not going to do that.
No, well, I was into so many women on our phone, because we're very posh. Nobody had a phone, you know. So, but we was one of the first ones to have a phone. He changed the normal phone to a pay phone. He said, "Fuck you and your women,"
because I missed the lover.
Don't.
God,
if he was there, he'd be grinning at me now. Yeah,
we're gonna. God bless him. We're gonna be doing at some point in the future. We're going to be doing a subject of love.
Oh,
so if you can condense your conquests into I don't know, 5 minutes or 10 minutes, that'd be really good.
Couldn't do it.
Too difficult.
Anybody out there that's at not an early age, a reasonable age, say your 40s and 50s, you've heard of the 60s and the 70s, swinging 60s and 70s, and boy was it swinging. I'm telling you, man, fucking crazy.
I like the way you was.
Man, I could just go right back and it was just a crazy time. Crazy time to be alive. Free love. People walking around with flowers painted on their faces and what have you. Mini skirts, where one might as well not have worn them. You know what I mean? That's fantastic.
And don't get me wrong. I mean, obviously, being one of the
careful.
The mods. But being one of the mods around Romford, around Essex, when I was 15, 16, and you are Harold Wood mods. But being one of the mods back then, no, I would if you could have 3 wishes. One of them would be I'd like to go back to
the mods and rockers age.
Being in the 60s.
I changed. You had your mods and your rockers, and I bought a motorbike when I was 16, and so I was a rocker. Yeah, but most of my mates were mods, so they had the Pat Parkers on and the tassels and the headlights and all that.
Yeah,
rubbish tarts. You know what I mean? Until you said Romford Market, we used to go to Romford Market, rockers up one end, mods down the other end, and I had a girl, of course. And she's got the ice blue jeans on and the leather jacket, the old, what's the name, look?
Smelling a Castrol.
Yeah, got it. And I looked down and this girl cocked her leg over a scooter to sit on the back of it. And I went, oh, that's for fucking me. and I flogged me motorbike and bought a scooter. She had no skirt on, which I thought...
All based on a girl.
Oh, but yeah, I didn't last very long, though. I mean, about 6 months I had the scooter, and that death, and I went back to motorbikes. But I solely went from rocket to mod because the crumpet were better dressed. There you
Dear,
go.
oh dear. Anyway, I don't know where we got to that.
I don't know.
Yeah, we were talking about tellies and,
Yeah, well,
magnifying glasses. That is brilliant.
Yeah.
That is brilliant.
That's a fact.
One other message we've had is Dave from Gants Hill. It's just up the road, isn't it?
Yeah.
Dave from Gants Hill says, Peter has had a lot of issues to deal with since he was young by the sound of it. And I can't imagine having to deal with those type of issues with everything else going on in your life at that age. And I think Dave from Gants Hill's absolutely nailed that.
Yeah.
Because when we were interviewing Pete on the last episode, I was trying to compute everything that he was kind of doing a whistle stop tour of his life, and I was trying to compute all of these different things. You know, what did you make of one of the things that Pete was talking about with regards to men is that our kind of social standing is based on ego, stigma, and pride. What was your sort of slant on that?
The ego one, I can't put that down to anxiety. I think we've all got a bit of ego when we're young, don't you think? Because we try and us men try and put a brave face on it. We are macho,
but I think that's what he meant by ego, stigma, and pride. Is that they're almost like the masks that we present as men,
correct? Yeah.
To kind of stop us having to explain ourselves. Would you label it differently?
No, not really. He's come out with some clever words there, really. The stigma part's all going to be down to the person that's suffering anxiety, and it's not going to be stigma coming from somebody else.
No.
And what was the last one?
Ego, stigma, and pride.
And pride was the same thing. Again, you're putting that shield up and that mask on. You think you're telling them that I'm not gay and I'm not this and I'm not that. So it's the pride of yourself saying, well, I don't want you thinking about it. And that's my theory on that. It's very, very, very strange words, I think, to try and analyse as in...
Yeah, I mean...
what do you think? Go through the three of them.
Well, I don't know. Ego, without a doubt. Stigma, yeah, I'd have to really agree with... I'd agree with all three of them, if I'm being honest. And people out there watching this, I will keep kind of reminding you of this, is that these are personal things, and Peter shared his personal things, and we'll be forever grateful for him for doing that, because this is the whole point of the podcast. But please bear in mind that this is Pete's story, and Steve and I have our own opinion, which we're not going to force upon you, but it is equally just exactly that. Yeah. And your opinion, I'm sure, will be completely different. Your 3 words will be completely different. So tell us what your 3 words would be. But yeah, so it's just really to iron that one out, is that this is about getting us talking, and Steve and I talking, and Steve and I can talk the hind legs of a donkey, whatever, is our own personal opinion. So just bear that in mind.
Well, the question I can ask you, which you ain't going to be able to answer, and I can't either. How would you think you would feel if you were 17 and lost a child?
Oh God.
You can't even go there, can you?
No, I couldn't. I really couldn't say. I mean, the only thing that I can compare that to was, because bear in mind, a year after that, I joined the fire service.
Yeah.
And a year after that, so I was 19. I had my first fatality, and that was a 10-month-old baby, whose name was Laura Maddox.
About so, I bet you know her name.
And ironically, before I retired, and still at a certain fire station in London, which was one of mine, one of the firefighters there is Laura Maddox.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Laura Maddox. Yeah, I mean, whether Laura's watching this or not, but
weirdly strange.
It is a little bit odd, yeah. But so I can only equate it to that, and I've always, from a very young age, I always knew I wanted kids, and and this, that, and the other. And I can only go by what that felt like, because even though it was a job and it was my job, it still become a very personal attachment.
I bet you.
And absolutely knocked me for six. But again, like I say, that's probably about as far as I could go with that, because what I had to deal with was a work-based thing, and it was a fire, and it was a fire caused by A, B, and C. And you know, Pete's story, I think, is actually losing a child to something else or somewhere else, and obviously he had much more of an attachment to it because the child was his.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I can only imagine through life experience that would just, even at that age, that would be
Devastating.
That would knock you for six. Absolutely knock you for six.
See, we've got this brief thing when we're talking about what he said. But when he mentioned about losing the baby, he did. I think we should have asked to stop him there and say, "How did you feel?" And what did that make the anxiety 20 times worse? Where you wanted to commit suicide, go on the booze, go on the pills. Yeah. Perhaps we can ask him when we're speaking to him and go from there. But I wouldn't like to comment on that really, because I don't think you can even think of how you must feel.
No, I mean, ultimately, in terms of questions, like I say, we've had some really good feedback, and a lot of people emailing and messaging in. Is if you have got any questions that you'd like Pete to answer, let us know, and we can see if we can get an answer from him with regards to his story or anything else, indeed. Because I mean, Pete's banging away on TikTok.
Yeah. Every day, so yeah.
Pretty much every day, yeah. And doing a great job, I think. So, because he's talking, that's the key to it. So I think for me, and I think I sort of brushed on this in the last episode, was around being at school age. You know, like 11 upwards, is a really tough age. And a really difficult time, even if you're in the coziest of environments and all of that stuff. And then just to top it off,
it can set your path out for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
it can, can't it? Yeah. Sorry about it, but it can. Yeah. What happens in that between between 11 and 15? After 15, well, you're either going to be one or the other. If you've had a really, really bad time, it can. I always go, especially the bullies. Now, I don't know whether you agree with me here. That there was a couple of bullies that I sorted out when I was at school, but there was a couple of real bullies, and I had to face these guys because I wanted to see if that bullying went to their adult life.
Yeah.
Trust me, it does.
Yeah.
I won't say it for everybody, but the two people that I had to face, they were bullies of Harold Hill. You know,
why were they picking on you?
Because it's peer pressure. You know.
No, but I mean, was there a specific?
No.
Because kids are brutal, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Kids are brutal.
Especially the 11 years old. You know, you're going from juniors to seniors, and you've got the seniors, the fourth years. 'Cause we never went further than 4 years in my time. And basically, having the pecking order of all your 11-year-olds, they want the pecking order. Once you've sorted that out, you then got to contend with the they're 4 years old and they're adults, really, you know. Yeah. And you have to, so it's relentless unless you fight back, which I did, I said about the boxing. And get your, can I say that? Get your own back? Or do you just walk away?
Say what you like, mate.
No, because what I'm saying, if you don't.
Revenge.
Yeah, revenge. If it's in your mind that you haven't covered it, that's brewing up in your mind. I'd like to say it's Mick and Tom. I've got to sort them out. The boss has made my life a misery, And if you don't do it, that's going to eat away. It's going to bring that little devil out, as in anxiety. But as theory there, yeah.
As we've learnt in previous shows, you're a bit punchy.
Listen, you can see I've never been a good-looking bastard. Never in my life.
That's a lie.
No, tell you, I can take it.
When your hair was long and blonde.
But you see the photos.
And you look like Les Dennis.
Nobody's ever said that, but you've got me off the plot now. What was I talking about?
Well, Les Dennis, it was Keith Chegwin. Now go on.
Cheggers, listen, anybody out there, Keith Chegwin is my hero.
God rest his soul.
God rest his soul, but my hero. Because I was an alcoholic, before I stopped myself drinking, I read all the books. The Arsenal player.
Paul Merson.
Yeah, and the other Arsenal player. Captain.
Don't really like
The Captain hook-nosed bastard. Anyhow, they wrote books about being an alcoholic, and Keith Chegwin. That's I can't think of his name. The England captain used to be England captain in the 60s and 70s.
Donkey.
Yeah, Donkey, him. Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah, I know what you mean. Go on.
I read both their autobiographies, and I was screaming at the book, "You're a fucking liar! You're a liar! We got a bill somewhere, and I'll ding, fuck 'em off." Keith Chegwin bared all. That's what we want you lot to do. I mean, he bared all. I mean, to shitting and pissing and hiding. He bought a mansion out in the countryside because his missus couldn't stand him drinking. So he said, I'll get a bike, my love, and I'll go biking around our estate. And he had bottles of whiskey every mile. So he'd go out, drink, come back, half hour's kip and say, I'm going out for a bike ride again. He tells you it right down to the knuckle. My hero.
I mean, he did literally bear all on the telly, didn't he?
Yeah. I mean, he just...
That was not to make fun of it. I mean, like I say, God rest his soul, you know. I grew up with him. Cheggers Plays Pop. And Noel Edmonds Swap Shot.
Yeah.
All that stuff. It was Maggie Philbin, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was, I remember. Yeah. But yeah, I think like the real low point for me, you know, sort of look at your childhood sort of heroes as such, was he done that the sort of game show, and he walked around in what do you call it, like not like a tit for like a safari hat. What do you call a safari hat? A safari hat.
I know, but you talk about one in round ones. No, you're not.
Yeah, do you remember he used to wear in Ain't Half Hot Mum?
Yeah, one of them.
Yeah. Anyway,
Cheggers used to walk about with that on his head.
On his head, and nothing else.
Naked.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you, it was a game show. And I'll find it. I will find it. I'm going to find when you start talking in a minute. I'm going to find it. And he was bollock naked. He wasn't the most well endowed chap, but it was. I think I watched about 10 minutes of the first episode because right, okay, Keith Chegwin's on the telly and he's got his cock out.
It must have been an X-rated TV show.
No, it was on at like X Factor time. It fucking was. It was.
You can find that. I'm telling you.
I'm gonna find it.
But I say anybody that if you think you're suffering with alcohol, you may not be alcoholic. I mean, it's a real proper read. You know, all walks, everything was on there. Like with Tony Adams.
Tony Adams. Yeah, that's him. Donkey.
Straight out. So Tony Adams said he was that much of an alcoholic that he was banging on the Checkers door in Ormchurch at 10 o'clock in the morning. What a fucking liar. He might be knocking on there at 6 o'clock in the morning, or he just finished half a bottle of vodka before he was knocking on the door. So, it's lies. If you're going to tell a story properly. You know what I mean?
Naked Jungle. That's what it was called. I'm telling you. You get on YouTube later when you're TikToking and whatnot.
I can't imagine.
Naked Jungle. Naked. He was on there in a hat and nothing else.
Doing what?
Running around going, because he used to do that thing, didn't he? Hello. He used to do that thing, didn't he? And with his tip rod, and he's interviewing people and they're naked as well. No, I think it's all sorts of wrong.
All alcoholics out there, he's pissed.
No, I wish I was. God, dear, it's 5 o'clock somewhere in the world. So yeah, Keith Chegwin, Naked Jungle. Don't watch it.
Just get his book. No, trust in me, it's a good read.
No, it does. All joking aside, it does. It sounds it. So in terms of, so one of the other things that Pete touched on the last show was about self-harm.
Yeah.
That's how. Now I found that quite interesting in his
what he said. Yeah.
In what he said, and just to recap, what he said was kind of almost like I think because we got onto the subject of counsellors and counselling therapists and whatnot, and I think what he was trying to say was that your standard, your average, stereotypical counsellor will say, well, you're self-harming, you shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
And what Pete was coming across with was kind of like, no, we'll deal with that, as long as you're safe. And I get that, I understand that.
Just about got that, yeah.
And it was his, I think his sort of ideology was sort of saying that we these people need to be cared for, and it was the whole thing about telling them it's a wrong thing to do puts more guilt on top of the guilt that they already feel.
No, I can understand that.
What was your sort of take on that?
I didn't like it as it goes.
Okay, why not?
Well, you can't. If someone's self-harming, you can't beat them up, and slap them, lock them in a room, and all this business. But I can't see. Yeah, if you've got an hour's session, because I think that if me and you were talking, we could give the half hour of saying, why you shouldn't do it, and this, that, and the other, and the next half hour talking about it, but trying to evaluate it and say to the person, well, this is what you should try to do. We know, I feel for you, babe. I know what you're doing, but you've got to try and do this. Try this. Try that. Try this.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can just say, well, you know why you're doing it. As long as you're not harming you. There's a borderline there for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I got it.
Good.
In terms of, I think it was. I suppose, in essence, it's very easy to, if someone does something like a kid or a young person does something, and the immediate reaction is well, stop doing that, because then that will stop them. So I get it in terms of the fact that Pete was kind of sort of saying it's a little bit more about reverse psychology.
Yeah, I've got that.
As in, okay, if you're going to do that, I just need to make sure that you're safe and et cetera, et cetera. But I found it quite interesting. Well, I do find it interesting his outlook and his kind of perspective, because he spoke about identity right at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And again, it was something I thought, actually, you're right there, because you're identified by your physical appearance, you're identified by your job, you're identified by your character. That's
life, though, isn't it?
It is. And again,
with the servants and all that, not a lot of people have got them, have they? But I just trod the line and said, well, why not? No? so we're all making our own line, aren't we?
Yeah. We're all pushing on. I'm down the laundrette, and
listen,
you're counting your money.
Listen, me and you could laugh about it for yonks, but a little bit you said about as long as you're not harming yourself. Now I've seen it because we've been at this. We're not on a podcast, but we've been I think we've been generally counselling people for years, and I've seen self-harm. Yeah. And it's very close to the veins, you know what I'm saying to you? I've seen them where they're cutting their leg or something like that. It's not harsh, but they're right by their main valves going up both arms, And all right, they're not at that moment not stupid enough. They just lightly scrap the blade, but it only needs one little, and good night, Vienna.
Yeah.
It's
no, I agree. I mean, one of the things I found quite alarming is looking at some of the stats. In 2018, 2019, 24% of 17-year-olds reported having self-harmed. So this is what's reported.
Yes, right.
So, how many others are out there? 24% of 17-year-olds reported having self-harmed in the previous year, and 7% reported having self-harm with suicidal intent at some point in their lives. 16% reported high levels of psychological distress. And this was the one for me. Suicide was the leading cause of death for males and females aged between 5 to 34 in 2019. The leading cause of death, and it's the leading cause in death of men currently.
Yes, no,
and has been for some time.
Well, that's right. Yeah,
but we'll come on to that.
Well, no, there's one thing I've got to say. You breached the subject, as in this suicide. It can be in somebody for months. They might have thought about it in January, and it'll be happening all the way through. And and they're not doing it, thank Christ. Or if they do, they're at the end of their seven. I find somebody who can. What I'm going on about? Billy Connolly, one of my idols. I talked to you about it last week. One of my idols, and he was talking about the great Robbie Williams, and he said we're good friends. He said he was in LA. He gave me a ring. Fancy going out for a meal. We said Thursday night. I thought it was very strange, Thursday night. But it's Robbie. We go out and have a good crack. He said it was half hour into the meal. Robbie leant over, kissed him full on the lips, and said, "I love you, Billy." And he said, "I thought it was a bit strange, He said, and just when we left, he gave me a cuddle, kissed me on the lips again, and said, "Always remember, I love you." 3 days later, he committed suicide. Now, that's what when we speak about all this, I think we're trying to put the brakes on people living, because that will be in the back of their mind. So we can put the brakes on it and help out just by talking, or little hints we've got. Perhaps that little thing that's in the back of your mind won't come out. So it's a life saved. You know?
Yeah, it's a real
I found it very emotional. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought so basically, I wouldn't have thought he's just done it to Billy. All his close friends, he's probably done the same thing too. So how premeditated is that to see your mates and say I love you, and then So think about that.
It's and I mean the one of the posts that I reposted on our TikTok page was the Norwich City Football Club.
Oh yeah, a lot of people mention that to me.
It's just phenomenal. That really struck a chord with me, more so because it's football related. The guy that you think is okay. His kind of not his mannerism, but the way that he was sort of acting, remind me of my friend who took his own life, and that really, really struck a chord with me. The thing that I found incredible, because I showed you this, was there's a young fella out there. I think he's a musician. I think he's from Brighton.
Oh, you did?
Called Ren.
Yeah.
And the thing that I found astounding was, so he does this song called Hi Ren. And it's flooded TikTok. It's all over social media, and they're getting different people, Americans or psychologists or different sort of people to listen to this song. And it's basically him his good side and his bad side.
Yeah,
in conflict.
Yeah,
and it's an incredible thing to listen to. The thing that astounded me was that Norwich City mental health thing was flooded TikTok and social media, and when we looked at it. And I showed you how many views that had.
Yeah.
It had something like, the Norwich City thing, it had something like 16.9 thousand views. And this high-end video has had something like 7 million or 3 million, or 3.5 million. Something like a staggering amount of people have viewed it.
That's probably people telling people, because when you first showed it to me, the first sort of minute, I thought, well, where's this going?
Yeah.
And suddenly I did realise that he was talking to himself.
Yeah.
His good self, his bad self, and I can cope, no, I can't, and all this shit.
Yeah.
It was very clever,
staggering. But it was the amount of views that I know obviously he's a young singer.
We're getting close there, though, aren't we? You know what I mean? We're getting close to that.
We're getting nowhere near that. No.
Did you hear all that?
16 views we've had so far.
Oh right, okay.
So yeah,
get in touch.
Yeah, definitely get in touch. It was like I say, Pete has had a lot, and we're going to learn a lot more about Pete in part 3. But he's had a lot to deal with, and like I say, for me, all power to him. For as long as I've known him, I never knew that about him. I didn't know all of this stuff.
He's doing the man thing again, isn't he?
Exactly. So yeah, I mean,
don't forget, he's gone through that right from when he found out his dad was gay. He's gone right away through that, and he has turned himself around. Would he end up barrack commander or station commander?
Station commander he ended up as.
Well, there you go. Yeah. That's no messing job, is it? So he's really turned himself around, but now he's I must say he's reverting back to what he was like, but
I think he's changing his opinion.
Yeah, that's it. That's the word I was looking for.
That's how it come across to me.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like I say, guys, if you want to ask Pete any questions, please write in, call in on the links and the numbers at the end of the show. So, so we'll be back shortly with part 3 of this. We just felt that anxiety is such a huge subject, and it affects so many. And I know this is the brotherhood, and we're kind of reaching out for men because men are crap at talking, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're just the worst. Well, me and you aren't really. We'll
no. So
and that Fools and Horses story you told, honestly, I couldn't.
Yeah, but we like that all the time, and I think that's what we're trying to put across, is that the shit that I've been through for quite so many years, but this man's been through as well. We've come out at the end of it. Got to keep an eye on it. Anxiety, always keep an eye on it.
Yep.
But we flow, and we laugh. You lot out there who ain't laughed for a long time is because you haven't got it off your chest. So get it off your chest, and you might actually start laughing like me and you.
Completely agree, mate. Completely agree. So, yeah, remember, guys, if you need to speak to someone urgently, I mean, by all means, call us. What's the number, Steve?
07762 991973.
And again?
07762 991973.
I just want to make sure we haven't got to get our Specsavers after this.
Right.
But if you need someone urgent and we're not picking the phone up, Samaritans 116123 116123. So listen, mate, it's been a pleasure.
As always.
Always a pleasure, never a chore. Thanks for the story about your bifocal telly.
Well, you asked, and that, I could talk for youngs, but I can remember. I can remember trams in Ilford, and people were on there go, "What the fucking hell was a tram?" You know, I can remember gaslighting. I lived in a house for.
It's got a very different connotation now. Gaslighting. It's nothing to do with literally.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I lived in an house for 3 years that never had electric. It was gas. You had to light the gas. And we used to have the potty underneath the bed and piss by your bed. Because the toilet was downstairs at the bottom of the garden.
I used to get up half an hour before I went to bed.
Yeah, that's fucking right.
15 of us lived in shoebox in Middle at Road.
Tim Bath, you know, you must have heard it from your granddads, but Tim Bath in front of the fire every Friday.
You didn't have a bath for a week?
No. And listen, the water in the bath, I would be the last to get in it. There'd be another 3 before me.
Oh, no.
So there you go. That's that. But that
washing your face in someone else's bumhole.
You got it.
Oh, no.
Honest. but we never knew no better. Honestly.
I mean, in fairness, we had to share the bath water, and my granddad always got in first.
You always thought, man.
You know, you'd sit there with the old bar of imperial leather, giving it all of that all over you, mate. This is great, isn't it? But when I think back now, I just think, it's just. It's just all sorts of wrongness.
Do you know, I can't remember something, it'll come out in other podcasts. My mum left me when I was about 2.5. Well, me and my dad. And do you know, I can't remember my dad ever telling me to clean my teeth.
Oh, my God.
So
well,
that's why
there's a lesson to be learnt there.
Got the Hollywood smile, you see. But I can't. He was a great dad, but that sort of thing, you know, as the man is out working 3 jobs and whatever, I can never remember him saying, "This is how you clean your teeth, son."
Men don't do that sort of stuff, do they?
Well, he probably fucking didn't.
Don't do that sort of stuff.
That's how bad they were. He had 4 of my teeth pulled out of me when I was 10 years old. Because he didn't believe in fillings. 2, they were too expensive. Just take them out. And don't forget, these were my second teeth.
And now you've got your 4th teeth. Or was it your 3rd?
Fortunes. A lot of money.
Yeah, we can't. Obviously, there are several dental establishments out there that you can get your teeth done.
Oh yeah, we'll advertise for you if you want to.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, always a pleasure, never a chore. Guys, remember, we're always here. There's always someone there for you.
Yeah, phone's on 24/7.
Always someone to talk to. And if you feel you're suffering on your own, don't suffer on your own. Give us a call. Call the Samaritans. Call the NHS. Call someone and speak to someone, but make sure that you call. Well, anyway, mate, enjoy the rest of the week.
Well,
with your gallivanting or whatever it is that you don't do.
But you're off again Monday.
Well, yeah, I know, but yeah,
I'm stuck in this horrible wintry place and what have you. You know what I mean?
It's gonna get grim in it when it gets colder. But
yeah.
Anyway.
Listen. Nice to speak to you all. I hope you're listening and just take our point. Ring us or somebody very close to you. Talk to them.
Yeah. Take care, and we'll see you real soon.
Bye.